Ikolomani constituency. Located in western Kenya in the southern part of Kakamega County. Renowned for its rich and deeply rooted bullfighting traditions, the area's name carries a deeper significance that dates back to the onset of gold mining by the British in the 1930s during the pre-colonial era. The name Ikolomani originates from gold mine, a phrase the local community loosely adapted into Ikold mine. Now, the name has gained traction both locally and internationally after a British company named Shanta Gold Kenya declared interest in mining the area's high-grade gold deposits.
It has costed all the elderly's lives until they are just in panic. Hey, watoto wetu tunahama, sisi tunaenda wapi?
Taking away 337 acres of land from such very highly densely populated area is completely wiping out certain communities. We have very strict regulations regarding where the man of the home ought to be buried and where his wife should be buried. You would have to kill me for you to exhume my grandfather from the ground.
Sisi tunakula kazi hapa. Mimi kama mimi ni operator. Nikikosa hii kazi nitakula wapi?
There is a gold rush in Ikolomani and it has been so for decades. But the recent announcement of planned large-scale mining by a British company has stirred anxiety among locals who now fear of economic, environmental, social and cultural disruptions. We are here to find out why.
On December 5th, 2025, a planned public participation exercise at Imosali Primary School in Isulu ended in death and destruction. A protest by residents opposing the planned large-scale mining of the precious mineral by Shanta was thwarted by police, leaving 3 people dead and over 10 others injured. 31-year-old Conrad Ashioya, an artisanal miner, was among the 3 who were shot dead.
Tulifika kwa site, kuna vile kifaa kimoja tu kwa najo ikiwa ni tape measure. So Ashioya nilimtuma aenda alete tape measure kwa muhindi. Vile alifika kwa muhindi, patani nikasitukia mlio wa marisasi ikipikwa. So kwenda huko kuangalia nikapata ndugu yangu ako chini amepikwa risasi. So sijui kenye kilikuwa kinaendelea.
Kitu naomba tu serikali tuangalie haki, wala hata makabana zetu kama wako in Kakamega County watusaidie tuone ni nini kilifanya mtoto akauliwa.
Several victims with gunshot wounds were admitted at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Referral Hospital in Kisumu. Eric Machete and Victor Ilesi recount how they were shot in Bushangala and Isulu trading centers, respectively.
Mimi nilikuwa kwa harakati naenda Shibwe, nimetoka Bushangala. Jamaa naona ananipiga risasi ya mguu. Na mimi sikujua nini inaendelea.
Wakati tulipofika hapo Isulu na tuktuk, nikamwambia dereva asimamishe tuone nini kinatendeka mbele, manake watu walikuwa wanatoroka wakikuja saidi sisi tulikuwa tunatoka. Kushuka kumbe maaskari nao walikuwa shafika pale mbele yetu. Ile kujitetea harakati ya kutoroka ndo nikapatikana na risasi kwa mgongo. Walinipiga risasi moja. so ikaingilia upande huu wa kulia na ikatokea upande wa kushoto juu mabega.
Journalists and police officers were also caught up in the melee.
Nilikuwa natuma story pale baada ya kukava, kuongea nao na kufanya kila kitu. Kuna vijana wametoka nyuma, walikuwa na rungu, walikuwa na panga, walikuwa na mawe na walikuwa ahadi na vifaa tofauti ambavyo si kutambua vilitoka wapi. Wakani attack, nilipigwa shingo kwanza na chuma, na wakati panga ilikuwa inakuja, I think ilikuwa imembatana na hiyo chuma, lakini ni kuweka mkono, ndio mkono ikazuia, ndio naona kifanya nini, ikapigwa hivi.
Vijana wale walikuwa wametarget vifaa vyetu vya kazi. Kamera yangu nilikuwa nimeishika na pamoja na ile tripod ya kushikia kamera. Waliweza kukata, alikuwa aim kukata mkono wangu, lakini sasa bahati tu nikaweka kamera, wakapata kamera. So kamera yangu imekatwa karibu kutoka yote. So imekatika yote.
63 people, including minors and 2 Kakamega member of county assembly, were arrested on the day of the public participation. Sylvania Mora is among residents who went to the Kakamega police station the next morning seeking the release of their children. 7 minors were arrested. She recalls how her 2 sons, aged 13 and 15 years, were arrested the night the chaos erupted during a police raid at their home.
Tumelala saa 8 usiku. Tukasikia mlango inapishwa, mapati inakongwa, tufungue mlango. Wakati tulifungua mlango, askari waliingia ndani, wakachukua watoto pamoja na watoto na papa yao, wakawapeleka nje, wakaanza kuwapika. Nikauliza kwa nini mnawachapa? Mimi mama nilipewa kofi, ile kofi ya ajabu, nikarudi kwa nyumba. Wakaniambia mama, ukipenda rudi kwa nyumba ama wewe hata upitie hii watu wako anataka kupitia. Jameni, nilianza kulia.
On the evening of November 4th, police picked up another 14-year-old who was playing football with his peers. They later returned the next morning to the boys' home in search of the minor.
Watu jana usiku walikuja kwangu kitu saa 10:30, wakaniambia tena, waliniita tu Mama Alan nifungua mlango, tunataka Alan. Nikauliza kama mnataka Alan, jana vile mlichukua Alan mbona hamkunirudishia?
Others recount how their kin were assaulted on that dreadful night.
Msaka toka nje, anataka kuona ni nini inaendelea nje. Walimshikia tu nje, akatoka akaenda. Na watu washanda hao walikuja, community imetaka watengeneze agreement, wamekataa. Kitu yenye inaumiza watu wetu, agreement. Tunataka watufanyie compensation, tufanye agreement nao, tujue ni wapi tunaenda ama wanatupeleka wapi, lakini hawataki.
They pleaded with government to release their children.
Sasa nimekuja tu hapa serikali, naomba tu mkipenda mwachilie watoto wangu waende nyumbani. Watoto innocent, watoto wenye hawajui chochote.
The failed public participation on December 4th marked the second unsuccessful engagement. The first had been scheduled for November 12th, 2025, just when revelations of large-scale mining were made public. This came after a Daily Nation expose revealed what appeared to be a well-orchestrated plan to extract the precious mineral, and in the process, a plan to acquire 337 acres of private freehold plots, which would require over 800 households to relocate, sparking uproar and anxiety among residents. We went to Ikolomani to understand how residents feel about the proposed large-scale mining project by Shanta Gold Kenya, which local artisanal miners are already conducting on a smaller scale. Our arrival was met with suspicion, with some residents asking if we were affiliated with Shanta. With the assistance of locals, however, we were able to navigate and gain access into the area. But before we begin, it is important to paint for you a picture of how gold mining is being carried out in the area. At the top of the pyramid is the landowner, commonly referred to as the landlord. The landowner leases his or her land to a sponsor who caters for the mining expenses and the sponsor is in charge of the miners. We then have buyers, who are mostly women, who purchase the unearthed rock soil, hand crush it, dry and grind them into fine particles. The soil is then handed over to women who wash them to extract gold and then sell it to vendors. We also have small-scale miners who operate leaching farms. From an aerial view, these open pits reveal gold mining sites that have been rapidly expanding in Bushangala over the past decade, transforming the landscape significantly. Isabella Shimenga's family converted their 1-acre plot of land into a mining site, which now includes 2 mining shafts, 2 crushers, and 3 gold purchasing points. Every day, over 70 people come to mine in the 2 shafts, while 10 others come to crush rocks and dry them in the sun. During school holidays, some children accompany their parents for work. And all mining activities began in their land in 2022. Isabella recalls how a mining company called Acacia Mining, which later sold to Shanta Gold Kenya, approached her father in 2018 and drilled 3 boreholes on their property. The family was supposed to be paid each drill but was ultimately shortchanged.
I asked them that, I see you walk around taking samples of soil from people's land, and maybe if you could explain, is that supposed to be in exchange of something? And then they were like, yes, we are supposed to give 150,000 shillings for every sample that they are taking. Then I asked them in that forum that, but it happens that you only gave 25,000 to people, and I can give evidence that even my own father was conned.
Silvanus Imungu and Augustine Andabwa, who are artisanal miners, are in charge of one of the over 30 shafts here in Bushangala. For Silvanus, this trade is a family legacy handed down through generations.
Na hii kuhama itakuwa ngumu. Kiupapu yangu mwenyewe alikuwa anaitwa Msefanu Elimungu, alifanya uchimbaji wa dhahabu na alikufa mwaka wa 2002 akiwa na miaka 105. Kama alichimba gold hiyo wakati, mimi sasa niko na miaka 52. Nimerithi kazi papu alikuwa anafanya. Sasa mkisema tutoke, tunaenda wapi? Mimi sasa niko nalisha watu zaidi ya 30.
Nilianza miaka 2015 na sisi hii dhahabu tulijua kitambo, hatujajua leo. Tulijua kitambo sana. Ndio kwa sababu tunafanya hiyo kazi ya uchimbaji.
Through gold mining, Silvanus and many others have been able to sustain their families.
Kila shaft haiko chini na watu 30. Soka ukichukua shaft 30 na inapepa watu 30, ukifanya hiyo hesabu, hawa ni wafanyakazi wa ndani. Ukikuja huku juu utaona hawa mama wenye tumepita wamengoja kununua. Kila shaft iko na sponsor, iko na landlord, iko na foreman, na utaratibu wa hiyo site vile itakuwa inafanya kazi yao.
It is a risky affair. Many artisanal miners endanger their lives to earn a living.
Kitu ya kwanza, huwezi ingia kwa shaft bila IT. Na huwezi ingia kwa shaft bila protection, paka ukuwa umefaa gumboots, umefaa helmet, at least uko na reflector na uko na tochi kwa tunafunganga kwa kichwa ili kumulika mbele penye unaenda. So shaft kuanguka ama iue watu ni kitu sisi tumezoea. So bahati mbaya kama siku yako imefika, hii hatuwezi ongelea. Hata juzi tumepoteza wawili, na ukienda kwa hiyo shaft ilikuwa mzuri, ilikuwa imechengwa, lakini sasa siku yao ilikuwa imefika. Ukitaka kuingia kwa shaft unaomba Mungu, akisikia yako sawa sawa, akikataa siku yako imefika utapaki. Na ukipaki kwa hiyo shimo, kama tunafanya kazi, hatukuleti juu, tunaendelea na kazi tumalize, ndio tupepe hii msiko tupeleke juu. Hiyo ndio sheria ya mining.
The labor-intensive and time-consuming work is not only dangerous, but also economically addictive, as miners dig through mounds of soil in shafts that extend both vertically and horizontally.
Hii dhahabu kama sambo iko juu. Hata kunia hapa tutakwambia lete 50,000. Na ni kitu tumewahi uza. Tumekuwa na shaft hapo juu. Kuwa nauza kunia moja 50,000, 30, hadi kuna siku tuliuza hata 80. Unauza na pato huyo mtu anakuja. Kunia moja ilikuwa inatoa kama gramu 50, gramu 70, na ukifanya calculation ya gramu utajua ni pesa ngapi mtu alikuwa anapata. Hawa watu wenye wanafanya kazi kwa mashaft, hakuna pesa unatoa kwa mfuko ukiwalipa. Ile mchanga ndio unawalipa. Kuna mkawa hapo, ile tu huwa tunaita 2-1. Hiyo 2-1, tukipima skati 2 tuweke hapo, hiyo ni ya sponsor na landlord. Hii skati moja ni wafanyakazi. So mtaenda tu hivyo mjue mlitoa kiasi gani, hii yenyu inaenda huku, ya sponsor na landlord inaenda huko. So hiyo ndio malipo.
The landlord owns the land, while the sponsor pays the county for permission to dig the mining shafts. Once unearthed, the rocky soil is sold to various buyers, mostly women, who crush it, sun-dry it, and then grind it into fine particles.
Gold mining is the heartbeat of Bushangala Trading Center. It is a silent yet fast-moving economic activity, where activities such as this behind me are concentrated in different homesteads.
Juliet Eric has been crushing stones for over 2 years. She explains that despite the labor-intensive nature of the work, it consistently provides a day's meal for her family.
Kiamka asubuhi najua nikikuja huku juu nitapata nini? Nitapata riziki ya familia yangu ya siku. Na sasa hawa wazungu wakikuja hapa wanyakue hapa mahali, nitaenda wapi? Na mimi na watoto, familia ambaye watoto wako kwa shule, wanataka kula, wanataka kuvaa school fees, ndio hiyo. So hii riziki wanapata, na shukuru, inanisaidia pakubwa.
She spends most of her time here, at least 5 days a week, crushing stones and drying them in the sun. She says she prefers this work to her previous farming jobs, which were hard to come by, because here she is assured of an income of at least 900 shillings per day.
Naamka saa 11 kwa nyumba yangu ili niweze kusongesha, nifanye 1, 2, 3 kwa boma, lakini saa 12:30 nafaa niwe nimefika hapa. Nikichelewa sana by saa 1 niwe nimefika, kwa sababu nile sio mimi peke yangu, watu ni wengi. Sasa bidii yako na kufika kwako mapema ndio inakupa nini? Itabidi kupe riziki ndio upate labda kopo la siku.
She fears that if open cast mining is approved, many like her will lose their jobs, potentially leading to a rise in insecurity in the area.
Hawa tuachilie wa mama tuzidi kuendelea kwa hii kibarua chetu, tuwe tunapata tu kidogo tunaridhika, kuliko kukaa bure na hakuna mahali pengine. Kama ni mashamba yamepungua, hayapo, hawa wenye migodi wenye wamekuja huku wametusaidia pakubwa. Lakini sasa tu wakienda shanda ikuje, hata tutakuwa tunalala. Utakuwa hata na ndizi kwa boma, huwezi kuwa na ndizi. Hata sukuma huwezi panda ifike matawi 2 matatu, hakuna. Huwezi tuma mtoto dukani, inabidi we mama uende, kwa sababu mtoto hajui chochote. Akishika hiyo noti, unaona anafanya nini? Wananyakua kutoka kwa mtoto.
Once the soil has dried, it is taken to a crusher where it is ground into a fine powder. From here, the soil is handed over to women who wash it through blankets designed to trap the precious metals. This is where women like Mary Wangoi, who has been working here for 7 years, receive their pay.
Nilitoka kaunti nyingine nikasikia dhahabu iko huku, nikakuja pia mimi kufaidikia huku. Sasa kama hapa sisi tuko na mdosi wetu, yeye akipata anatugawia, yeye anatulipa per day work 1000 per each. Tuko watu 7 Imeandikwa na huyu mama.
Payment does not end at this stage. After the gold is sifted, the owners divide the portion among the workers depending on the size of their haul.
Unaweza angukia 10,000, 5,000, 2,000, hata 100,000. Tulikuwa tunataka tukulenge hii kitu polepole tukiwa wengi kuliko mtu mmoja afaidike. Sisi tunafaidikia hapa, tunasomesha watoto wetu hapa.
The rags are then washed in a basin. Mercury is added to the water, and the women, often using their bare hands, rub the mixture with a piece of paper for 1 to 2 minutes. The water is then drained, with the remaining mercury believed to have captured the gold. Using a piece of cloth, the excess mercury is strained out. Leaving the gold mixed with mercury caught within the fabric. From here, it is smelted into a round ball and sold to vendors. The unrefined gold is sold to buyers between 7,500 shillings per gram to 12,000 shillings. It is said that a large percentage of gold slips through the blanket traps and ends up in the muddy puddle commonly referred to as the Senate. Once the puddle is full, it is sold to small-scale miners operating leaching farms who then employ heavy chemicals to amalgamate the gold. We are taken to one of the leaching farms situated just a few meters from a stream south of Bushangala Technical Training Institute. The air is heavy with the smell of chemicals. We are told the smell becomes unbearably choking for residents when the plant is active. Ian Mutamba is the neighbor here and has been complaining of the activities happening at his doorstep.
Mimi niko na mama hapa kwa boma. She's asthmatic. Ni mama ameteseka sana paka hata nikamhamisha aende kutafuta mahali pa kuishi sababu ya hiyo harufu ambayo wakishachimbwa inaletanga shida.
The plant is also located less than 100 meters from a water source where residents get their water.
Tumekuwa na shida kwa mtoni yetu wanaita Luyeku Spring. Mvua ikinyesha maji inabadilika, maji na ndani inakuwa brown. Tumetamani serikali watusaidie.
His farmland has suffered degradation due to the ongoing activities.
Mimi niliathirika sana sababu hiyo maji inaenda kwa shamba yangu. Siwezi panda chochote kwa shamba yangu sababu ya hiyo drainage. Nilikuwa nauza hii mandisi kule Chapakali na Eregi. Siwezi unda sababu hiyo maji ilishaingia kwa hiyo mandisi karibu kila kitu.
Despite reaching out to local authorities for assistance, he has only faced frustration and intimidation.
Tukakaa vijiji yote mbili ambayo iko affected, tukaandikia reliable resources watusaidie. County government of Kakamega, they have our report. NEMA, they have a report. Mining department, they have our report. Public health wako na report yetu. Kwa DCI wako na report yetu, kwa DO, kwa DC, kwa assistant chief, mpaka kwa mzee wa kijiji. Na tunapojaribu kuulizia hii mambo, tunapojaribu kutetea, tunatishiwa, tunadhulumiwa, tunashikwa. Hata tuko na siku nimeshikwa kama nimetetea ng'ombe imekunywa maji hapa, mpaka nikapelekwa paka Malinya.
Just a few meters from Bushangala Trading Center in Bushitsula village, we find Johnson Lusiji at his home preparing to leave for a meeting. He is among families fearing eviction, claiming to have been misled into signing an agreement they did not fully understand in mid-2025.
Na tuna wakati ambapo Board administrator alikuja kwa nyumba yangu akaniambia nataka kuchukua machina zetu, na alikuja na machina mingi sana, ambapo wakasema mashamba itoke kwa mababu kwa baba sikuje kwetu. Akaniambia ni sign. Karibuni MCA alikuja kanisani akasema watu ambapo wamesign mahali popote kitu mumefanya vibaya, kwa sababu watu ambapo wamesign wanaambiwa wahame.
His other two neighbors, a few kilometers from his home, also recount a similar visit.
Walikuja mwezi wa 5, lakini mwenye alikuja alikuwa anaitwa Ann Masai. Ndio akakuletea form to fill, yani tuweke sign, lakini hiyo sign mimi nilikuwa naona tu walikuwa wanatuambia ati wanachimbia huko. Alafu sasa hiyo chuma inakuja paka huku, inaweza chukua huku quality huku. Sasa tukisema tu huyu alipwe peke yake, huyu mwenye ako mbali huyu alipwe peke yake, atakuwa ametunyanyasa sisi benye tuko kando ya hiyo mashamba. Sasa sisi tulikuwa tumeona sasa ikiwa atatunyanyasa sieri tukupali na tuweke sign. Tukaweka sign, tukujua ati tunataka kuhamishwa.
Nilikuwa najua tu ni watu wa Shianda, lakini lengo yao vile kuwa wanakuja kwa poma hakuwa kuna waeleza ama tulikuwa tunawakaribisha. Majina yao kwanza hakuwa kuambia. Sasa kucha kwangu alikuwa na msichana tu kama wewe, kijana kama wewe, na mama akaketi hapo. Sasa wakaanza kuniuliza, "Ta wewe ndio naishi hapa? Una watoto wangapi? Musa yako yiko hapo, umesika nini watu wangapi?" Nikawaambia mtoto wangu mmoja nimesika hapa, na mwingine nimesika huko chini, na kuna semeki yangu amesika huko mtoto yake na mke yake, na wasasi wa hii poma tena wako huko chini. Sasa na wengine wanatembea wanapika mapicha, wengine wanatembea na nini hiyo yao, wanapima hata shamba. Sasa hata wao kueleza lengo yao ni nini, hata walitoka kwangu si kujua ati lengo yao ni nini. Sasa sijui kama huyo kijana yangu alisaini kitu, kwa maana hakuniambia.
According to Shanta's plan, Johnson's, Rosemary's and Lucy's homesteads on the shores of River Yala, as well as the Bushangala Teachers and Training Institute, are earmarked for displacement to make room for what will serve as the dumping site. Back in Bushangala Trading Center, despite the frenzy of activity surrounding the area, Mwalimu Julius Shimenga's home has stayed intact for years, while his neighbors continue to burrow into the earth in pursuit of buried wealth. An aerial view of his property reveals a sense of calm amidst the surrounding turmoil.
They began by doing some sampling of some soil in my gate here. I wrote to NEMA, told them as a cancer survivor, those noise being brought here and smoke, they were affecting my health. So that was the beginning of my discontent about the whole process. So number 2, I've been looking at my neighbors who are doing the mining, and it involved fully in the process. I can't see anything good out of it. I think to me the whole thing is totally disorganized. Bear in mind, I've seen a big number of them who have been doing the mining for the last three years. I can't see anything in their homes which has come out of the mining.
Aside from the dust from the sawmills and the noise of crushers, his 96-foot borehole has run dry due to the surrounding activities. This has forced him to stretch his resources thin as he tries to support his daily living and subsistence farming.
It had a lot of water, and now it is empty. It got dried up. Now to get water here, I must just go in the river, or sometimes buy water at the market. Yeah, there is completely dried up.
This has been home for over 25 years, and he hopes the situation will remain unchanged.
there is no value you can attach to a human life. So people think about 68 billion. Billions? Yes. I think my life comes first. Anything else is subsidiary. I will remain here as I take care of graves of my parents and my relatives. Because we lawyers, there is no cost you can put to a skull of a parent. No.
But the history of mining in the region dates back to 1932, when the British sank their first gold mine in Rosterman in the outskirts of Kakamega town. Other gold mines were sunk in Isulu and Emutaho areas of Ikolomani. Jimmy Makotsi, an author and a member of the Isulu Bushangala community-based organization, which was established to monitor the planned mining activities in Ikolomani, has been tracing the history of mining in his homeland for decades.
It began with a company of pre-colonial times, which was called Afri-Ore. And Afri-Ore sold their rights to prospect for gold in this region to a company called Aviva Corporation in the 80s. Aviva Corporation began activities to commercially search for viable deposits of gold in the area. But along the way, they diverted their attention to something else, and they sold their interests to an international mining company called Barrick Gold. Barrick Gold at that time had set up an African subsidiary, which was in fact involved in searching for gold in Tanzania, in southern Tanzania. But their intention was to follow a vein of gold that stretches across Eastern Africa and which pointed to availability of gold in Western Kenya.
Ikolomani lies within the Liranda corridor, located in the northeastern section of Busia-Kakamega Greenstone Belt, an area rich in gold deposits. In 2019, following an extensive exploration, Barrick Gold, a mining company, through its subsidiary Acacia, entered the Kenyan market, but later sold the company to Shanta Gold.
We were rather surprised when Acacia Mining announced that they were selling their interest in Western Kenya. We wondered if they had found gold worth 164 billion shillings. Why would they want to sell? It then turned out that in their mining activities in Tanzania, they had not been very straight with the Tanzanian government over a period of time. So when President John Pombe Magufuli took leadership of Tanzania, he made them pay all the outstanding royalties that they owed to the Tanzanian government, and also fined them for having been deceptive in their dealings with the previous government.
Jimmy sat in one of the community consultative committees which had been under Acacia and now had been inherited by Shanta.
As members of this committee, we would ask what kind of mining method would be used, and we would continuously be assured that it would be deep shaft mining and it would not have any disruption of the Idaho people in terms of their habitation. We had to ask this because the people of Idaho, they have very strong attachments in their intra-sub-clan liaisons, because the people of Idaho are not one homogeneous group.
It is these cultural aspects that made them sensitive to the entire venture.
We have very strict regulations regarding where the man of the home ought to be buried and where his wife should be buried. We have very strong rules about the responsibility of the progeny of a family to safeguard the grave of the grandfather. You would have to kill me for you to exhume my grandfather from the ground, because exhuming my grandfather is like removing part of me.
In 2023, Shanta Gold Mining Company changed tune from carrying out deep shaft mining to carrying out open cast mining. This was not received well by the residents.
In fact, the Malinya meeting vetoed Shanta Gold from carrying out any activities in Ikolomani. And for a substantial period of time, they were not moving around here. They couldn't do anything within this area. They couldn't even utilize their prospecting license because Vidaho had said they do not want to be removed from their homes.
However, a year later, residents of Isulu and Bushangala were surprised to see Shanta Gold Mining Company arrive in Isulu with its machinery.
In 2024, when Shanta resurfaced, they did not even come back to the local wananchi. Shanta came through the sub-county security team, the DCC, the OCPD, the DCIO, and the AP command. Those are the people who brought in Shanta by force.
This was June 2024.
One morning, we woke up. We saw the machines coming, being escorted by the police, Land Rovers, Artisanal police Land Rovers, loaded with so many police officers, all armed, and we had no alternative. So there was a little confrontation between the police and wananchi. So many people were injured. They were using live ammunition. We have a lady who broke her limb. We have a lady who broke her arm because they were being beaten up by the police officers, left and right.
Their arrival sparked uproar among residents, and during the ensuing fracas, one person was killed.
I was arrested. We were arrested and framed with the murder case. But the main person who committed the offense is still outside. 14 people were arrested. 6 were later on charged. Charges were dropped against a few of us. But for those who were charged, the case is still on. The case is still on before the High Court in Kakamega.
Despite protest by residents, Shanta set up its machinery in 2 homesteads. Currently, the company is operating less than 500 meters from Ludeshi's homestead.
They do what you call diamond drilling. So they will rotate along that, the rock containing gold, and then they will extract that stone, pack it on a tray, carry it to their side, place it into a laboratory. Those stones containing substantial amount of gold are taken to Tanzania. They are normally taken to Tanzania for processing.
How do you know this?
Huh?
How do you know this?
But we have inside information from the company. They take those stones to Tanzania for processing. What will remain here are empty stones. There was even a meeting together with the chief geologist from the Ministry of Mining in Kakamega. Told us those stones are normally exported out of the country because we do not have a laboratory in Kenya or a processing, they do not have a processing plant where that stone could be processed. So it's normally taken to Tanzania.
While carrying out their operations, A person who leases their bare land receives a sum of 25,000 shillings for 3 months. If crops or trees are cut, an assessment is conducted and compensation provided for the disruption.
So wherever they place a machine here, it goes diagonally up to around, it can go even up to around 800 meters or even a kilometer. The only thing you will hear when you're in your house is that there's a vibration coming in your house. Now, the drill is passing through your compound. You will hear vibration downwards, but they're not in your compound.
In an effort to seek government intervention, they wrote to the highest office in the country. The president responded. A team was sent to the area, but no tangible changes followed.
The letter was received by the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service. The letter was handed over the Director of DCI in Nairobi. The Director of DCI did send here some 2 officers to investigate. We gave them all the reports, and nothing has been done. We were interviewed. The Member of Parliament was interviewed. The MCA, almost everyone wrote a statement. The Member of Parliament, the MCA, the Senator, the Woman Rep, community members, the DCC, the DCIO. Everyone was asked to write a statement. And that thing from 2023 went down and it disappeared.
Later this year, a planned public participation meeting with the National Environment Management Authority NEMA, slated for November 12, 2025, was cancelled. In this meeting, residents were supposed to give their feedback on a 987-page environmental impact assessment report by the mining company conducted between May and September 2024. Prior to the November 12th meeting, the CBO on July 7th this year had written 19 objections to NEMA, refuting the EIA report, citing it was grounded in violation of the Constitution.
We talked about the CDA, the Community Development Agreement. Who is negotiating for the community? There is no one negotiating for the community. Shanda doesn't talk to us. Shanda speaks to the DCC and the security team. Shanda goes to the politicians. Shanda calls the Minister for Mining.
Leaders from the Church of God in Bushangala wrote a letter to the Kakamega County Commissioner and NEMA in Kakamega protesting the planned mining. They said 8 of their churches are likely to be affected if mining is approved.
Wazee wetu walikuwa na maono ya kwamba Bushangala tuwe na shule whereby watoto wetu, watu wetu watapata elimu. Serikali ikitaka paka ihusishe kanisa, kuonesha kanisa ya kwamba hii ndiyo mipango yetu.
NTV went through the environmental impact assessment report that was done by Shanta Gold Kenya Limited through Current Technologies Limited. The census survey was conducted between May and September 2024, where survey questionnaires were administered to residents. The field survey began on January 27, 2025, with 78% complete when this report was compiled in March 2025. The report indicates that the total Isulu and Bushangala gold resource currently stands at 1,270,380 ounces, grading at an average of 11.3% grams per ton of gold.
The key word I want you to note there is an average of 11.43 grams per ton, meaning that some of the ore will have even perhaps 30 grams per ton, and some ore may only have something less than even 1 ppm or 1 gram per ton. Therefore, the average is 11.430.
For context, an ounce of gold is currently averaging at 530,000 985 Kenyan shillings, meaning the deposits at Isulu and Bushangala are valued at 683.04 billion shillings. This means the gold is valued at 4.1% of the country's 16.2 trillion gross domestic product. According to Global Gold Classification, deposits containing 0.5 to 5 grams per ton are considered low grade. 5 to 10 grams per ton are classified as average grade, and 10 to 20 grams per ton are regarded as high grade. In certain jurisdictions, any deposit exceeding 12 grams per ton is categorized as bonanza.
When you look at various grades of gold or various mines in Kenya, you will get some mines yielding as high as 40 or 50 grams per ton. You can hit a high grade vein, which is what will give you 20, 30, 40, 50 grams per ton. But that may not be consistent and may not cover a huge area. And that is why, if you look at what we are getting from Bushangara, you see they are talking about an average of 11.43 grams.
Once fully operational, the mining project is expected to continue for approximately 8 years. The report also indicates that land acquisition will mainly involve private land owners, while any public land will be obtained following the procedures set out in the Land Act of 2012. They further emphasize that the land acquisition process will be conducted voluntarily and transparently, with involuntary resettlement avoided where possible and, if unavoidable, minimized and mitigated. The project will require the acquisition of approximately 337 acres, affecting approximately 1,345 people. Essential facilities including public utilities, roads, schools, hospitals, and market centers will be affected, disrupting activities such as farming, livestock raising, and artisanal mining and small-scale businesses.
This is Isulu Primary School, established in 1949 when it was built by prisoners of war. It is one of the facilities that is likely to be affected when mining activities are set to be operationalized within this area. This is because it is located within the 100 meters buffer zone, that is the open portal, the portal area on my right, and the open vent mining, which is on my left.
Hii ni shule iko hapa. Hii shule iko hapa. Hii shule iko hapa hii. Musali Secondary. This one. Hii ni kiwanja ya shule. So unaona nakata poko nakata kiwanja ya shule. There are 3 schools. There is Isulu Primary School. There is Musali Primary School. There is Shiboname Primary School. Those are found in Isulu location. Then we have for the Otna girls, it has a new dormitory, worth 7 million shillings. It was a national government project. That dormitory has never been used. It was just completed some 2 months ago. Maybe the first lot to occupy the dormitory should be next year. It has to be demolished. We have Musali Secondary School. Musali Secondary School has a new dormitory. It was constructed last year via NGCDF. It was funded by NGCDF. So should we say it's a wasteful of public resources? If Shanda knew this would come, they should have advised the area member of parliament not to pump in our resources.
In the analysis, a total of 702 property owners, 656 household heads mapped, 38 businesses, and 8 institutions are likely to be evicted. Similarly, A total of 6,500 structures will be affected, as well as over 517,000 crops and trees, and 601 graves in 201 homesteads. Shanta further states that the 151 holders owning 244 acres will be paid 421 million shillings. Those with structures will also be paid a sum of over 1 billion shillings, while owners of crops and trees will be compensated to a tune of 137 million and 215 million shillings respectively. Business holders will be paid a total of 8.9 million shillings. It is important to note that none of the definitions have been distinctly expounded in the document, with an incomplete appendix. The report further states that mining operations will cease once ore extraction is complete. The decommissioning process of the plant will then commence, followed by the reclamation of land for other uses, including business activities. Despite several meetings that have been held by Shanta, residents claim that only a select few have been involved in such forums.
Shanta has never sat with us as a community, even for the 23 years they have been here. They have never. They only come like thieves. They take the cold, whatever they want. They say we are doing prospecting. They come in the night. They have a few people they have bought. They just come with those people. So when they sit with them, they go to various churches here, Pentecostal churches especially.
The residents are also questioning why the government and the gold mining company is not talking about other minerals that are most likely found alongside the gold.
Gold does not grow in isolation. There is titanium there, there is copper there, there is the diamond there, and there is gold and other minerals. So what they are just saying that wanataka kuchimba gold, it is not gold as it is. The government should know. What about this other disposing minerals? Who is benefiting?
Aside from the challenges associated with large-scale mining, there has been an influx of people from various regions of the country and even abroad, placing additional pressure on an already densely populated area.
We have Chinese who have come in. They have already bought some land. We have people from other regions within the country who have also come in. And most of them are people who are prospecting. They have come with money.
This surge in numbers and easy flow of cash changing hands every so often has come with its fair share of social challenges.
The increased demand for labor now creates issues of young people abandoning school and other moral issues that cause decay in the social aspect of the society. We have also seen an increase of men coming from all other areas, and because of this, it creates the gender-based violence issue, where, of course, men socially will demand to have some relationship with girls and all that. And because of this, they lure girls with money. And, of course, with that, it goes with a number of issues. Teenage pregnancies and other diseases-based, sexual-based.
Apart from the risk of sexual transmitted infections, artisanal miners also face the threat of other diseases, as they are often compelled to handle mercury with their bare hands during gold extraction.
The chemicals that are being used, mercury, we have arsenic, and you know mercury naturally causes skin disease, kidney and liver issues. We also have neurocognitive diseases, that is the brain, because mercury has a high affinity for some of the brain cells. And this will have a very negative health effect on the population in their younger ages. We know diseases like dementia affect old people, older than myself, maybe more than 70 years. But with such chemicals around, we start having young people suffering from such diseases.
Residents also accuse the county government of Kakamega for appointing corrupt officials to oversee the mining, as they see little to no development from the proceeds of their venture.
Ushuru ya department ya mining peke yake inatosha hata kutufanyia vitu vingine in terms of infrastructure. And is that money not enough for them kuridhika mpaka wanaona lazima waende watuletee investor kutoka nje? Afadhali hata serikali ikitaka kutusaidia, it hires as machines, tools of work, it gives us qualified personnel. Even if it means from the billions that they are likely to extract, tukihaya machine tutalipa kwa hizo mabilioni, other than letting foreigners to come and extort us.
Pesa ambazo zinatoka kwa ushuru hapa, kuna njia ya kusanya ambayo wao wanatumia. Unapata tunalipa sisi ushuru, unakuja unaambiwa ukilipa tu 2,000 cash utaandikiwa receipt baadaye. So that money now goes on continuously, assuming I have to pay 10,500 shillings kwa kuwa na crusher. Umekuja umechukua kwangu 2,500 baadaye.
A history of unfulfilled government promises underlies the residents' strong reluctance to trust the government.
This is a government that does not respect the law. This is a government that has earned $135 million in terms of royalties for the best titanium project in Kwale and Kilifi, and they haven't paid a single cent to the county governments of those two counties. This is a government that has earned 660 million shillings from mining trona from Lake Magadi since this law was effected, and they haven't paid a single cent to the Maasai of Kajiado around Lake Magadi. This is a government, and when I say a government, I'm not talking about Ruto's government only. I'm talking about even the successive governments that have been there. Governments that did not even release a cent to the Turkana people of Lokichar after they rioted and blocked crude oil from being moved from Lokichar to Mombasa. They were not paid, and yet the government of Kenya has earned 227 million shillings in terms of royalties on that crude oil. So who says that they are going to start by paying the people of Ikolomani? We are very skeptical about that.
We sought a response from the Kakamega County Executive Committee member for Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change on the concerns raised by locals. Penina Mkabane explains that informal mining activities in the county are currently carried out under the supervision of the Artisanal Mining Committee. This follows the government's lifting of a temporary moratorium on the issuance of permits to artisanal miners in November 2023.
The challenge we have is that the national government has given prospecting license to Shanta Gold, which covers most of the areas where the artisanal miners are mining. So it becomes difficult to issue them with a license. Even though the areas of Ikolomani and Lurambi have been given as a license to Shanta for prospecting, we have some in Shinyalu who can be given those licenses, but the requirements are also very stringent. Stringent in the fact that if you want to do mining, then you must be given, you must provide an environmental impact assessment report. And this is done by NEMA or officers accredited by NEMA, and it's quite expensive. It's in the range of 150,000 to 200,000. And here you have an artisanal miner who is only looking for 8,000 for 1 gram. You know, when they get that 1 gram is sold at 6,000 to 8,000 to the middlemen. Then they go and refine it and sell it very expensively.
Despite this, miners are required to pay fees to the county government in order to operate. Operating a shaft costs 50,000 shillings, while crusher owners pay 10,500 shillings. Gold buyers with stalls are charged 5,000 shillings. Leaching farms, on the other hand, are required to pay between 250,000 shillings and 500 shillings, depending on the size of the facility. Miners have blamed the county government for failing to plow back the money.
Now the money is meant to be paid directly to the county revenue agency. And we have made that account available to all the miners, all the artisanal miners. So it is even wrong for them to give out cash to our revenue officers because they are supposed to pay in the bank and show them the receipt. So whenever they come, they should show the receipt. If you pay cash to our revenue officers and they don't remit, you need to report so that we pursue it with them.
The county government also confirmed reports that Shanta is exploiting their prospecting license by mining.
Now, if Shanta starts mining, because they have been lying to us that they are prospecting when in fact they are extracting gold. Now, when eventually they get the mining license, 70% of the royalties will go to national government. And you see, it's our soil being degraded. It's our people's lands being affected. And then 20% is required to come to county government and 10% to the community. But you see now it's 10% of what? Are we even sure that what they are declaring is what they are going to get? Because the first report they gave me about their prospecting, it was indicating that they'll be getting around 1.2 trillion. And then recently in the newspaper, I see they are talking of 680 billion. So which figure is true? And these royalties, does it mean that it's 70% of the net profit after the operations? Or if it's 70% of the total income they are getting? You know, those are some of the things they need to sit with us and explain to us.
They also decry lack of involvement by the mining company and the national government.
The misgivings we have as a county government, they are communicating to us through newspapers. They have not come to brief the governor and tell him, this is what we have found. According to our feasibility study, we need to displace this number of people, resettle them. We'll need this amount of acreage. And as a return to the community, this is what we're going to do as corporate social responsibility. But what is happening, they talk to people in Nairobi, they come here, talk to the county commissioner, call a few MCS and the MP, and go down to the ground for public participation. We have not given civic education to our people. We have not educated them that although this is your land, the minerals that are found, maybe 150 meters deep on your ground, belong to the government. And that is why we want to settle an agreement with you.
Shanta, on the other hand, has been accused of involving select local leaders in their meetings who fail to cascade the information down to the people.
They've done a feasibility study, they've called a few leaders, they've taken them to Tanzania, and now they want to come and do public participation. You know, public participation should be done from a point of from information. I should have been informed, prepared psychologically, I should have been educated about how much is in my land and how much I should be compensated. Then I can go to public participation and say the mining can continue, or the mining cannot continue because I need to be assured of A, B, C, D. It was cancelled because as a county government we had also raised reservations about the same. We had not been thoroughly briefed, the community has not been thoroughly educated. Yeah. You see, and that public participation was going to be the last step. So how do you do a shoddy public participation and then you move in to start resettling people when in fact the public is not duly educated, there has been no civic education whatsoever?
The county government says it received less than 20,000 shillings in royalties from mining in the last financial year.
For the last financial year, in terms of royalties, we only earned 18,000 shillings, the whole year, the whole county. And you can imagine the amount of gold that people are extracting. It means there is lack of accountability, there is lack of transparency somewhere between the national government and the mining activities that are happening. On the ground here, those who are doing mining are not disclosing. And even when they reach the national government, then they are not also disclosing. As much as Shanta is coming in, as much as the national government administration is purporting to take lead of the process, are they aware of the level of the level of irresponsibility, the level of lack of accountability, the level of lack of responsibility? Walk into those mining sites, you will find many lands degraded. And my department is supposed to allocate more than 5 million to go towards rehabilitation of the sites. Yet, the amount of royalties we have received as a county is only 18,000. It is too much unfair for the county government, and it's too much unfair to the community.
The government, through the State Department of Mining, maintains that all minerals belong to the national government according to the Mining Act of 2016. The government has dismissed claims that the mining company excluded the community and has instead assured its support in ensuring proper and fair compensation.
They should not have any fear. They should engage the company. They should ask for proper valuation, fair valuation of their land, of their property, of any asset that they have so far acquired in that land. So there is no day the company will come and evict them. The issue is to engage with the company and look at the resettlement action plan. The government will be leading the process. So they are protected by the government so that they are not exploited. So the evaluation of the land must be approved eventually by the government. And all the processes must also be approved by the government.
He further outlines that the principle of compulsory land acquisition, where the government may lawfully acquire land on the basis that the public interest overrides the landowner's lack of consent.
Now, if you refuse to give, unreasonably refuse to give consent, then that's when the government can do compulsory acquisition, because we weigh the economic value of the minerals vis-a-vis your rejection to give consent, and you will be compensated in accordance to the laws of Kenya. This is what's called compulsory acquisition of land.
Kimtai has also dismissed claims by the county government of Kakamega of being sidelined.
So they rarely participate other than artisanal mining. As I said, they have the mandate to license those artisanal miners. But commercial mining, it's the role of the national government. So they might not have been in each and every step of their licensing. So maybe you'll get an officer within the county saying, I'm not aware. But not because, it is because the process does not go through them. The process goes through the national government.
The PS denies claims that Shanta has breached its prospecting license by mining in parts of Isulu.
But because they have been prospecting in that entire area, but they only concentrate on the area where we have huge deposits, enough to be mined. So that's why they get confused, but they should understand that's the mining process.
He further maintains that the government will ensure that the resident community will benefit from the royalties accrued from the proceeds of mining.
And that royalty is shared by the community who have been affected by the mine. The community gets 10% of the royalty, the county government gets 20% of the royalty, and the national government gets 70% of the royalty. So apart from the resettlement and apart from the compensation, they also still benefit from wherever they are of the 10% which is given to them.
The PS is also calling on residents to take part in peaceful public engagements.
That's why we call on the public to come and give their views. They should not fight. Give your views, and then we review your views based on the impact of mining. What impacts mining will cause to their land, to their lives.
He urges the residents and the entire country to embrace the project, saying it would greatly unlock Kenya's economic potential.
We are prepared as a nation, and this is the time. We have seen how squeezed our GDP now is in terms of us accessing funding or loans from outside.
I'll allow Chitan to tell us the quantity.
NTV sought a response from Shanta during their meeting on their Siaya Ramula gold mining project held in Kisumu on December 3rd, but the company declined to grant us an interview. Subsequent calls and text to Shanta's general manager, Jiten Divecha, requesting for an interview also went unanswered ahead of airing this story. Ruth Sarmoi Chesenge, NTV.